Hello everyone, welcome to Gradeup, welcome to Gradeup's MBA channel. Today we're going to talk about our lessons from CAT 2020. CAT 2020 is done. Many of you have taken it. Many of you say you haven't done well.
Welcome to Gradeup.
One second.
MBA channel. Today we're going to talk about
Why is my voice? Hold on guys, hold on just a minute.
CAT 2020 is done. Many of you have taken it. Many of you say you haven't done well. One second. Why is my voice? Hold on guys, hold on.
Okay, I've just asked my tech team to help me. They should take care of the voice part of it. All right. So the point is, yes, CAT 2020 was tough. VARC was also tough, but that doesn't mean you get disheartened. It was tough for everybody, so you may get good marks.
The point is, yes, CAT 2020
but move ahead. Go ahead. It's time to move on from CAT 2020. But while we look at CAT 2020, also look at the lessons we learned and put these lessons to good use. Right? Let me know how did you all do CAT 2020 before we talk of the lessons. Don't say good, bad, indifferent, but basically what was it that you found most challenging in CAT 2020? What was it that made you feel good about CAT 2020? We are talking only of VARC. LRDI के बारे में बात ही ना करें तो ठीक है. We'll only look at VARC and let me know what it was like and what were your reactions initially to it. Yes, the one word that can wrap up the entire exam is time. This is the first time that I could not answer 2 questions because I didn't have the time. Because the options, I mean, when I finished 2 passages, I thought, okay, I've got enough time to, do 2 more passages and the theta questions. By the time I was done with the third, I looked at the clock and I said, no, this doesn't look that great. So the point was that the passages, 2 of the passages were easy, right? The main thing was, yes, we thought they would ask 20 questions. Instead, they asked 25 questions. We will talk about the mistakes to avoid. Our prediction was 20 or 25 questions per section. We were right there. There were 26 sections. Now, 26 questions for 40 minutes seemed a big ask because the para jumbles and the summary questions, when you looked at the degree of difficulty of the passages versus the para jumbles that we actually saw, the para jumbles each, if you wanted to do a fair number, like I wanted to get them right, then you had to spend a minute each. So you had 8 theta questions, which effectively took up 8 or 9, 10 minutes of your time. So you were actually left with 30 minutes to do this much, out of which these 2 passages turned out to be pretty tough. The one on culture, second slot, bad. It was tough. It was long. It was tough. It was tough to read. So I would actually say that the difficulty level was it was tougher than 2019, if you ask me. Okay, so not what should be avoided so much as what should be done. You want to maximize your score. See, I made the mistake of, we have already started a course for that, Sachin. I took a class, Introduction to Decision Making, right? But we've already started the sessions for that. We have started a course for that on our, a proper course, a paid course for that. We also did a couple of sessions on strategy for that on YouTube and the app, right? For what should we read the, yes, The Economist, Aeon essays, Because if you look at the passages, they were not any different from the earlier passages, right? They were everything of the same passages. All right. So the way we put it is, if you've got 18 attempts and 18 correct attempts, you are sitting in a driver's chair. All right, slot 2 was what I took. So slot 2 is the one that I can talk about in great detail. Only thing is, it will not be like maths when all of you gave the questions and you remembered it. Passages, and when you are concentrating and doing the passages, except for the subjects, I don't remember anything of the questions. Let's start the questions one at a time. Somebody said, I felt VARC was easy to moderate. It was moderate, Kajal. Easy, I would not say. Right? VA was more tough than RC, as in you are saying that the theta questions were tougher. Theta questions took longer, but they were easier. There were no other VA questions, right? They were just the VA. If you're talking about this part, parajumbles, the 4-sentence parajumbles, all of them could be taken and done easily, provided you spent a minute on them or a minute and a quarter on them. The odd one out parajumbles also took me a minute and a quarter. 2019, the odd one out parajumbles were way easier than the odd one out parajumbles here. Summary was easy. Summary could be done very easily. But that was not a theta question. That was a proper question. So these three were the easy parts. The 4-sentence passages were easy to moderate. But these two were moderate. I would not say easy. These two were tough. Alright, we will first talk of VARC. Deepayan, I would not like to make any predictions about the scores. Let the answers come out. We will only look at it in terms of passages and what we need to do with the passages. Because as I said, these are all just theories. They all depend, your number of attempts and everything, that our predictions are all based on the students telling us how they did. But it's very relative, right? So two things you need to remember. I would say even 15 correct attempts and you're okay with VARC. At least in slot 2, 18 pretty good, 21 pretty good, but I'm talking of accurate attempts. All right. So to understand comprehension, you should comprehend. That is the point. See, the whole point became, like somebody said, the whole issue became an issue of time. I regret not practicing enough on parajumbles and summary and odd one out. The danger with teaching is you teach the same thing again and again and again. So I don't have time to go back and practice. So when I actually came across the parajumble passages, I took a little longer than I normally would take. So the first thing is, I would think that time management and strategy is very important. Second thing is understanding the reading comprehension. You have half the battle is won. For 2021, let us divide the time between understanding the passages. Let's do the reading in a shorter time and spend longer in eliminating options. So if you've read and understood 80% of the passage, that's good enough. Even 70% is good enough, because every time you do the questions, you had to go back and cross-check. The options in certain passages were so close that you had to go back and look at the passage again and again just to cross-check that ye theek hai ki ye theek hai. That was the other one. You understood? Varun, I was told that I took slot 2 and I was told that all slots were of identical difficulty. Maybe some people said that 3 might have been a little bit easier than in terms of VARC, but you cannot. A person who has actually taken it would know. Suppose somebody really good at VARC takes a slot 3 and he says, I found it very easy. So it all depends on the paper. The paper took a lot of time. So it was definitely a big ask. The 40 minutes, we were so used to 34 questions 1 hour, that when we actually took a test of 26 questions in 40 minutes, that was the biggest challenge for us, I think. So if you keep practicing for 26, 40, then it would be good. So that's what we need to remember, but we don't know what CAT 2021 is like. So let us prepare for 34, 60 and 2640 as well. Keep this in mind because it's always easier to get more of 60 minutes. Yeah. All right. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is that practice, once your fundamentals are done, please take timed tests. Very important, because that was the main problem. Now we go back to what exactly should you be. I think that your VARC prep strategy, whether it is for ZAT, SNAP, IIFT, whatever is coming, ought to be timed practice of section tests and mock tests. Keep past question papers in mind and start taking timed tests of mocks. Work on the close options. So keep working on the close options to see if you made a mistake. Let's say once the answer key is released, they are saying end of October. Let's say the answer key is released. Let's work on those close options and see where did I go wrong. All right, that is number one. We will talk of what to read. All right. So there are people who are saying slot 1 easier tha 2. Say those who take 2 will say that 1 and 3 were easier. So Varun, I feel that every year CAT has been very fair in giving identical passages, identical levels of difficulty. So I don't think that should worry you much about in terms of degree of difficulty would be the same. What would I read? I would continue with the same readings that I have always told you to do. Read somebody was asking, is Dan Brown good? Any reading is good. But specifically if you are thinking in terms of writing an exam with a question and answer and RC, for RC rather than reading a novel, I would any time tell you to read editorials, read The Economist, read the Aeon essays, read either Eco Times or Mint, okay, any of one of the business papers, okay, any scientific blogs or articles on science, technology, anything. These are important. Editorials, Economist, Aeon essays, either Economic Times, Mint, Business Standard, one of the newspapers, one business paper, one normal newspaper would help. That would be my suggestion for now. All right. Hindu is good. Any 1 or 2 papers that you have. All right. Novels are long. DVO organization. When I find such names, I find it difficult to address you. Novels are long. If you enjoy reading it, absolutely not an issue. The problem is that at this point, if you are appearing for ZAT, it is 1 more month to go. If you're talking of CAT 2021, then yes, you can read anything you want. Anything. But an editorial, an Economist, Aeon essays are shorter. When you finish it, find out, do I know the main point? Can I read it? Start reading it faster, in the sense that if an editorial initially takes you 5 minutes to read, see if you can read it in 3.5 minutes. So you will have a better control. Novel is something, I would never say no to a novel, but a novel takes you long. It's something that you're just reading for relaxation. So you don't set yourself, you don't have a sense of urgency to finish the novel. That definitely would help you build your vocabulary and others, but it would not really, in terms of reading comprehension, these are the ones that would help. Archit, GMAT material is good in the sense that you get lots of passages and lots of questions to practice, and also the timing would be fine. But the CAT passages are a little different from GMAT. CAT is very unpredictable in the type of questions it asks. GMAT, the pattern is very predictable. Purpose of the passage or main point of the passage, all can be inferred. What can you infer? So it kinds of puts you in. But for practice, you can use past CAT or ZAT question papers or GMAT. For practice, anything is fine. I'm okay. As long as you read and answer questions, I'm fine. All right. So do you want to look at a slightly tough passage? I have chosen it from ZAT paper last year's or year before last. I don't remember. Are you up to it? For the next 10 minutes, are you up to it? Do you want to read it and test yourself? No big questions. I just want to see how test yourself while reading it. It's a tougher. It's not a very easy passage, but maybe we could just try reading it and see how it goes. Right? What would you say? Yes? Again, about a minute per slide. Okay, and then we'll just read the questions without cross-checking and see how much we will do. Okay, because it's a short session. Read it for a minute because a lot of words have fitted into a slide. Done? 1 minute is up. Okay, what did you remember from the passage? So the key is read quickly and try to simplify the passage in your own words so that you understand what you're reading. I don't think the CAT passages were way tougher than the economist passages because there were questions on it. If the economist passage had asked you questions with options very close, then the economist passage per se would have felt tougher because the passages per se were easy. The piracy passage was very interesting and good. So was the passage on renewable energy. So the passages per se were very nice and interesting. It's only that the questions were slightly tricky. The options were close. I had to read the options 2-3 times. B and C sounded everything the same. Then I said, no, wait a minute. Let me see what this is. So the key was you had to be alert and focused and also be aware of the time. So I thought that to sum up CAT 2020, it was all about timing, how well you timed yourself. And I goofed up in the last passage. That is but that's okay. Why do you want a magazine to have everything? Nature related passage nahi hai, but there are passages on other things. I'm not saying all your reading should be The Economist, right? You can read Aeon essays where you get everything. So now guys, the first paragraph, quickly, somebody quickly keep rattling off. What are the ideas? He's talking about history. He's talking about history repeating itself, or what did he say? History repeat. Yes, all the slots had tricky questions, Archit, not just the second slot. We took the second slot, so you and I said, yeah, second slot was tricky. First slot was also, must have been equally tricky. And para jumbles for once looked easy, but when you really looked at odd one out, I normally finish in 30-40 seconds. And this time I had to spend a minute on them. So when you read this passage, what did it say? Quickly get through the main ideas. That's how you read it. All right. History might not repeat itself. History, why do we read history? What is the point? The main thing is to be liberated from it. That's what he says. All right. That history shaped everything, but it is the cold hand of the past that grips us and it makes us look at only one type of future, something like that. Second paragraph. What do you think is the more important part of the passage? The first paragraph or the second paragraph? What do you think is the more important part of the passage? The first paragraph or the second paragraph? It's the second paragraph where he sums up his thoughts, where he says that we feel the grip of history from the moment we are born, but by making us look at the past, it helps us actually think of possibilities which our ancestors did not think of. History will not tell us what to choose, but at least it gives options. Then the questions come. Now, based on what you have read, we don't have time to really go back and do a proper thing. He says, yes. So, first and second, we've quickly read through. Now, after reading the passage, now in the exam, we had the option of really looking back at the passage, which you should do. Otherwise, the options all look similar. This is an application question, application based question based on what the author has said, right? And so I could take you back to the passage, but which one do you think would be the most appropriate option for the citizens to learn history? I have always read. In fact, I am a voracious reader. I used to be before I started teaching. But reading obviously is a natural skill that comes in handy when do VARC. Solving comprehension questions is only before a test. But obviously the basic skill to do well in RC and CR is to read. The better you read, the more comfortable you become. Okay, had it been a paper-based test, now I go back to my favorite rant, which is if it had been a paper-based test, I would have read faster, I would have done better, so many other things. Okay, let's go back to British names of streets in India should not be changed. Then what happens? We will, okay, let's go back to what is his basis of learning history, right? What is his basis of learning history? We learn about our ancestors so that we can repeat their right decisions. That doesn't happen. Then historians study the past not only to repeat it, but to be liberated from it, so that you know exactly what happened, so that you will be free from it and look at things ahead. Okay, then he says that knowing the past will help you free yourself from the past. Which one of these would help you know your past or learn history the best? British names of streets in India should not be changed. Then you will be stuck in British India history only. You won't know what happened before, you won't know what happened later. Every street in India should display a plaque that lists all its previous streets, so you will know the entire history of the street. What was it called at which time? So the entire history of its name, and therefore the street you will know looks like a good option. British names of streets in India should be changed to Indian names along with an explanation of the history. Of whose history? The British names or the Indian names? Explanation, will it help? The British names should be changed to Indian names, but only the names are being changed and the explanation to that change is being given. But have you been given anything about the history of the streets? This is the difference between B slot C, okay? This we do not want. Periodically change we do not want. So we have two options, B and C. Between B and C, which is a better option? British names should be changed to Indian names along with an explanation of their history. Whose history? History of the British names. An explanation of the history. Is explanation talking about the origin and the history? It's only an explanation of the name, the history of the name. This actually gives you the history of the street because it gives you all the names. So wouldn't this be better? I do not know, Nikhil. I hope high 99 points, high 99, but I do not know. I really do not know. I messed up the last passage badly in the sense that I was in a hurry, I marked something. The moment you start panicking, you know you've lost it, and I've never lost it. I've always been kind of calm and cool. It just happened. And it didn't help that I had to, we had to go through one of these fumigation chambers, right, where they pushed that sanitizer, and I started sneezing so badly. People thought I was a COVID case because all I did was sneeze through the first 5 minutes while we were waiting for whatever to happen. They didn't allow me into the center, saying that parents are not allowed. I had to tell them I'm candidate, not parent. The guards looked at me like I'd gone nuts. Only one of my colleagues who was much older than me, ex-colleagues, was also there. I felt so happy to see him. Okay, question 2. मेरे जैसे बुड्ढी भी लिखते हैं एग्जाम लगा. Okay, question 2. Essence of the passage, main point of the passage, which again I told you was found mostly in the second paragraph. We learn history not to repeat it. We learn history so that we learn from it, so that we get liberated from the past. Second part, last sentence, based on all that, which one do you think is the essence of the passage? Quickly, which one is the main point of the passage? Guys, we were supposed to do learning, so I just want to see whether this is the last question, and then I'll again talk to you about learnings. But tell me, essence of the passage. History does not help predict future. Is that the main point he's trying to make? History deals with long periods of time. History documents past events, not past events. History gives you more options, therefore history is eclectic. Perfect, Anusha. Got it? Okay. All right. Let's again look back. So what should you be doing in the next few days? What should you be doing in the next few days, next few months? If you are taking ZAT, if you are taking ZAT 2021, I hope you are, then you should be solving the past question papers in a timed manner. Okay, the time that is given help maximize your scores. Okay, take them in a timed manner, treat it like an actual ZAT paper and do it, and trust me, that will help you, that practice. If you are looking long term, then my advice is read. That is option 1. Okay. Next, of course, is take timed section tests. Your reading has prepared you for the fundamentals. Your classes have told you how to answer the questions. So I am already doing that. So first thing is read. Build your reading skills. Build your reading skills in terms of the time you take, and every time you read anything, see if you've read it properly by asking yourself what was the main, by basically summarizing what you have read, whether it's a novel or an article or a small paragraph on something. Can you tell the main point? That's what you do. After that, once your reading habit is ingrained, let's say 3 months, first 3 months would be this. Start taking timed section tests. Once the section tests are done, then start taking mock tests so that you build your stamina for a full length test. The reading comprehension section mercifully was the RC part was mercifully the first section. By the time you went to the third slot, which was quant, you must have been really tired. So the quant errors also had to take in the fatigue factor. When you take a test first, the first part of the test, when your brain is active, you need a little warm up. So the key is, yes, reading and solving questions, a combination of two. And when you solve questions, keep the time factor in mind. That is very important that you keep that in mind. All right, and the so-called close option, correct option, do that, and do not ignore parajumbles. Many students said, anyway I make mistakes in parajumble, so I did not attempt any parajumble question. I just marked whatever came my way, A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, 1. But the parajumbles were, if you had spent a minute on them, they turned out to be easier than some of the passages. Now a student who's done all the theta questions right has a high chance of getting a high score. So do not ignore any section of the test. Do all the sections. We have plenty of time, right? We have courses right now. Also, we have a new batch starting. All right, DVO, we have a new batch starting. Call the number on our screen, they will tell you. Right now for 2020, we have a Mission MBA, which is for IFT, TISNET, CMAT, MAT. Then we have a special course for ZAT, VARC and decision making. We have GK for IIFT and SNAT, and a special course for the GD, VAT and PI. So this is something, again, I would request you, many students that don't, we wait till the CAT results. If you've done reasonably well, even for next year, it's going to help you. Just have the confidence and do the GDPI course. Because once the results come out, you won't have enough time to prepare. So at least start preparing for the group discussions and the essay and the PI. All right, that's something that you need to do right from now. All right, 2021, just call the number and they will tell you we are having ongoing courses all the time. The moment there are enough students in one batch, the batch is closed and we move to the next one. All right, now do join our Telegram group for interaction with all the students. Verbal seems to be a lot of people's issues at Chit. But remember, you need to tell yourself, see, of the 3 sections, obviously, for many of you, verbal is an issue, but it's not something that cannot be conquered, right? So, the CAT 2020 paper was tough, and in that, if you use the right strategy, you still have a good chance. So, think of it like that. Second one is, if you're thinking of any other exam, then just put CAT aside. The learning is, okay, I cannot ignore any section, any subsection of the verbal section. Let me give equal importance. If you've prepared really well for CAT, then all the ensuing exams you will do well. You just need to practice on the mocks for that particular exam, so that every exam the pattern is different, the focus is different. So obviously your strategy will change a bit. So for example, if you are taking ZAT, then the choice of questions is very important. The choice of passages is very important. There are vocab and grammar questions. The advantage with vocab and grammar is you can finish these questions very fast. If you have 10 questions in vocab and grammar, you can finish in 3.5 minutes or 2.5 minutes even. Either you know the answer or you don't. So then you have to look at it. You can't say, I don't like grammar at all. Nahi karunga. We've taught you grammar. So you need to at least go back on some of the important concepts, so that if there is a question on grammar, you can immediately answer it and move on. So if you are preparing for that, same thing with symbiosis exam. If you know what it is, synonyms, antonyms, whatever is asked, sentence correction, the technical concepts they ask, like what are different parts of speech and things like that. Work out the last 5 years question papers. Then you know what it is. And we are there to help you. We have a course for each and every exam. Connect with us, find out, join, subscribe to our YouTube channel, download the latest video. We have courses for every exam possible. So you find out which one is you want to join for. If it is you have exams in the next 1.5 months, my advice to you would be to look at the pattern, look at the number of questions expected and take timed tests. When you make mistakes, find out what is happening. You're taking most of the other exams, well, then start preparing for all the sections. Work on your strengths, work on your weaknesses too. So if verbal is your weakness, for example, the next exam that is going to come up, think of it. Think of 1 more month for that. Start preparing for that. We've already started the decision making VARC. In fact, yesterday I did the first vocabulary session. Then we have, tomorrow we have RC and CR. Alright, just keep working at it. Any aspect of the question you find difficult, look at the answers and explanations and see where did I go wrong. See, your analysis of your mistakes is very important. Okay, and remember this year VARC looked like that VARC. Alright, for CAT 2021 there is still a lot of time. So your tip is read. Alright. Take regular classes, solve quizzes, solve section tests, solve mock tests, and whatever test you are solving, please time yourself. Even when you are reading, time yourself and make sure that you read with a sense of urgency. So you read faster than your normal pace. Did I answer your question, DVO? It should go simultaneously. You are reading and answering questions. Should go simultaneously. So let's say you read an article for pleasure, that's fine. Read an editorial, just roughly time yourself while reading the editorial, that is both pleasure and skill building. Take tests to see if you are reading properly and answering questions properly. Alright, do subscribe to the Gradeup YouTube channel and download our latest app so that you get notifications. Press the bell and the like button so that you get notifications of all the classes that are happening. We plan to take a lot of sessions between now and the end of all the CAT and other all the non-CAT and other MBA exams. Alright, so we'll try to help you as much as you can. We are there, we have our courses, join our courses. And another small bit of advice to all of you is even if you've done reasonably well, think of taking the VAT and GDPI course. Don't leave it to the last minute. Once you start getting calls, you will be worried between should I write, they call it statement of purpose, SOP. I don't know how to write an SOP. I have to write a proper resume. I have to learn how to write an essay. My GK is very poor. So suddenly you will be left with a lot of things to do in the last 1 month. Yes, please ask a question. Mr. Perplexed. You said, may I ask a question? I'm waiting for the question. No question has come so far. All right. Keep in touch and we will be there helping you. I will be there. All my colleagues will be there to those numbers. Once the answer paper is out, you will have a very clear picture where you are. Right now, 90% accuracy is pretty good, I would say, but don't do all these analysis. I don't believe in all these numbers. Once the exam is over, I'd put it aside. People ask, how many did you attempt? I said, I don't remember. How many correct? I don't remember. I hope whatever I have attempted is correct. At least itna time liya to sahi hona chahiye. That's what I felt. Alright, don't worry about it. Just wait till the answer paper is out. Meanwhile, you go about your business. because otherwise you're spoiling all other exams along with your CAT prospects. Don't spoil your prospects for other exams. Okay, billi ko hata do. Keep the cat away from right now till it decides to enter your life. Alright, don't worry, don't tell this many attempts, this much accuracy, kuch bhi nahi. What is your next exam, Mr. Perplexed? If you're taking it, start worrying about that. Start preparing for that exam. You have any doubts about in VARC in that exam, I am there for you. Call our counselors if you have any inquiry about any course. Alright, I will see you very soon in another of Gradeup sessions. Meanwhile, go Gradeup, join us, prep with the best. IIFT, then that is where you will just look at IIFT only. Don't think of anything else. Alright? Just focus on IIFT. Pull out the past question papers. Time yourself and answer it. Alright? All of you do that. Whatever is your next exam, how many days to it? Plan back. Leave yourself 2 days before the exam jab kuch bhi nahi karna chahiye. Don't do anything in those last 2 days. Before that, do all your studies. Last 4 or 5 years of papers of IIFT, solve it. Okay, time yourself each time you solve the paper. Alright, that's the best thing to do. Okay, alright, see you very soon. Bye-bye.